Hope everyone's doing great. Get some confirmation in the chat that we're good to go. Hopefully we are. Are we live? Boom, there we go. I see some people now. Another thing, I was working on some new stacks today. Maybe I can give you a quick sneak peek in a little bit. Mr. Cole, Dave, Mr. Francis, Dr. Bob is in the house. Okay. See quite a few people that were on the hangout on Friday, so you're going to see a little bit of what we did on Friday, but I'll probably build upon that and play around and yeah. I have an idea what I'm going to do, but yeah, I thought it would be more fun as usual just to fly by the seat of my pants, right? So Phil, how you doing? Excellent. Hopefully everyone's getting back into the swing of things from the holidays. It is cold here this morning. My hands are freezing, actually. It's making me fat finger type things wrong all over the place. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about circles, right? Seems like kind of a boring thing, but not everything on the web is a circle, right? I mean, by default, everything is kind of a square. So how can we make circles? And after that, we'll probably just play around. I have some cool ideas of some stuff I've actually done in previous demos of other stacks that I think would be fun to play around with some circles. So not sure how that's going to all pan out, but we'll have some fun. Oh, Fernando going rowing. Nice. Okay. Let's see. Let's share my screen. This probably be a quick one today, I think. Probably won't go too long. I don't know. We'll see. I say that now, but once I get going and you guys start asking questions, we just go and go and go, right? So let's go ahead and launch Rapid Weaver. I'm going to create a new project. We're just going to start from scratch. Okay. So Total CMS, Fernando, not sure what your question of TCMS is. Will I show off Total CMS today? I don't know. Maybe we'll play around with Total CMS with circles. Not sure. Maybe in a blog list or something like that. We'll play around. Okay. So who knows in chat? Let me know. Hopefully our delay isn't too big. In order to create a circle, what do we want to start with? Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and let's just throw in a chuck in a container and a one column, which is kind of like my default starting point for things. Okay. So as we know, or we should know probably, everything inside a rectangle. Okay. So let's start off with a rectangle. Everything is a rectangle, right? So let's have this one column. I'm going to chuck in a background here. So let's just do BG primary. Why not? Okay. Which is a, class. All right. Actually we need to add a, so by default, this one column, I preview this page, right? And we see nothing on the page. And that's because that one column has zero, content into it, right? So let's just give it a little bit of height. I'm just going to use some utility classes here. I'm just going to do H 256, right? Oops, 256, not 156. 2. Oops, isn't 256 a number? Oh, I need site styles on the page. Huh. It's kind of a requirement, isn't it? All right. Let's just slim this bad boy down. I'll keep the sizing chart actually, and we're going to streamline it in mode. Okay. I think that's tough for some people. All right. There we go. Now I see my BG primary background and my height 256. All right, there we go. Rookie move. I know, right? Jesus. Thanks, Goat Prince. You are the king of the internet today. President of the internet. Sorry, president of the internet. Okay. So I started with a rectangle. Okay. Which is a starting point. Okay. Let's just add some gutters on here so we have a little bit of that adds it on the. I'm just gonna add some margin to this container really quick just so we can have some spacing. Margin, I don't know, let's do like 64. Why not? Okay. Let's do MY or MT. Okay. So I have this rectangle. Okay. So how can we make this rectangle a circle? Well, as you've probably heard me say, there is so many ways to accomplish things. So we're gonna look at multiple different ways to accomplish creating a circle today. And the first one is not necessarily starting from a rectangle, but starting from a square. Okay. Because I can't really turn a rectangle into a circle. So what we need to do is we need to get it into a square because a circle has the same height and width, correct? So the closest thing in a rectangle world to that is a square. Okay. So let's go to this one column. And let's add let's just do like width colon 256 because I already set a height on it. Okay. Sweet. All right. I am using some utility classes here. We could just, let's go ahead and if some of you want to see that, I know some of you are scared of utility swatches. So I'm going to redo all of this that I just did with this background color and these inside of some swatches. Okay, so we're going to go over here and I'm going to use a height swatch. Okay, and let's just call this circle. Okay, and let's just do a simple height of, I did 256. Okay, and then we're going to create a width swatch. I'm also going to give this a class of circle. Okay. And simple, we're just going to go ahead and make it the same exact size as the height. Okay. Which is 256 pixels. And we need to give it a background color. So let's go ahead and do background. And again, we want this all to be a part of circle. So I'm going to make this also apply to the class of circle. Now I know some of you, might be confused here. You can have the same class across multiple swatches. Okay. Because whenever I add a circle class, it's going to get this height, this width, and a background. So let's give it a background color. Sure, let's make the default a boring gray. Okay. Let's make a default boring gray. Okay. Because we're gonna jazz it up a little bit later on. So let's go ahead and in order to apply those to my column here, I'm going to add a class of circle. And voila. Hopefully you see that we have a gray square. Fun times. How exciting is that? Now, okay, I have a square. How do I turn that square into a, actually, no. Let's go ahead and I'm going to shrink this down because we're playing with this square and we got big enough screens here. Let's hide that. Let's just hide that. Oops. Hide that. Hide the stacks. We don't need that right now. All right. That way we can kind of see everything in one, strategize this a little bit better. All right. So now I have a square. Let's go ahead and do a swatch. One more swatch. And any bonus points? How can I turn a square into a circle? We want to make the edges, instead of sharp, we want to round them off, right? So funny enough, guess what swatch we're going to use? We're going to use a rounding swatch. Okay. Excellent. And then we're going to do a class of circle on that. Okay. And basically what we want is we're going to do a percentage. Let me just show you something. So if I go ahead and do a radius of 10 pixels, okay, let's preview that. We'll see that I get a nice rounded corner square. Okay. And if you know, the unit here is pixels. Okay. And one thing I could do is I can make this like 5,000. I can make this super big. Okay. And when I do that, that gets me a circle. Okay. Because this square is only 256 pixels. So technically, if I go up to 128, actually, okay, it still gets a circle. But if I start going less than, let's do like 96, okay, you'll see that I now start getting more of a very round square, right? Okay, so if you do pixels, the pixel has to be 50% of the width and height. Now, instead of having to do all that crazy math in our heads, let's just go ahead and use percentages. And we're going to set the radius to be 50%. Okay. So that way, no matter the size of our square, we will always get a radius of 50%. Okay. So again, I just set the rounding to use percentages, and then I set the radius to be 50. Okay. So that way, basically what that does is it goes 50% the width and height. It makes it completely round all the way around. Okay. Now you can actually go larger than 50. If you did like 60%, it doesn't matter. It will still look like a square, right? But 50% is the minimum. If you did 49%, here, let's see what 49% even looks like. It still kind of looks like a circle, but it actually isn't. Okay. So 50% is what we want. Sweet. So now we have the recipe to make a circle. Super simple. It's just making sure it has a width and a height and a background and rounding. Okay. Now, this is cool, but like this circle it's static, right? And that's okay for certain layouts, right? It works really, really well. Let's say, for example, I wanted 2 circles. Okay, let's just go ahead and I'm going to add a 2 column in here. Okay. And we're going to go there, and we're going to go there. Okay, let's preview that. Okay, so now I have 2 circles, but if you notice, like the circles never change, right? They're always the same size. They're always 256 pixels. And again, that is okay for some layouts. Maybe you want them to be a fixed size. But what if we wanted to make these circles responsive? Okay. So actually, you know what I can do? I'm going to go ahead and we'll kind of do this in stages. We're going to do this step 1. So that way, when I share this project, you guys can see. Okay. So now we're going to do step 2. Okay. That way I like that. Let's do that. Okay. So now we're in step 2. Okay. Yeah. And let's go ahead and save this project so that make sure we save it. Let's do circles. Circle fun. I save that on my desktop. Okay. Okay, so now we have this. Now let's go ahead and in this, we're going to make these circles responsive. Ooh. Okay. So right now, in order to make something responsive, like we can't give it a static width, right? So I'm going to go ahead and ditch that. Okay. I don't want it to have a static width. But what does that do for us? Okay. Well, that doesn't necessarily do what we want, because now I no longer have circles. I have ovals. Okay. Which is, if you wanted an oval, guess what? If you give a rectangle, okay, a border radius or a rounding of 50%, guess what you get? You get an oval. Okay. But they are responsive. Look at that. They're responsive ovals. That's cool. Okay. But how can we make sure that that we still get circles? So essentially, these ovals always have a height of 256 pixels. Okay. but that's not what we want. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to add actually a little bit of gutter here just for fun. Okay, just so there's a little bit of separation between these bad boys. Okay, so now I have these two eggs that at some point they start looking like circles. Okay, they're not exactly circles, but at some point they're probably a perfect circle somewhere around there. Okay, but we can't give it a static height. Okay, so we need to ditch that. We need to ditch the static height. So what do we need to do now? Okay, so there is if you have the swatch pack, there is an aspect ratio swatch. Okay, and let's apply this to be circle. And what we want is we want the aspect ratio to be 1:1. Okay, so on a circle, I always want the width to be the same as the height. So 1:1 says whenever we have a width of 1, or let's say a width of 100, make the height 100. Whenever we have a width of 200, make the height 200. So this essentially ensures that a circle is always a 1:1 ratio. Voila! There we go. We got circles, but let's verify that it's going to be responsive. They grow and they shrink. Well, they shrink. Right? So now we have responsive circles. Ooh. Sweet. Okay. Another thing that we could do, let's play around with some circles. Okay. Let's go ahead and I guess we'll do step 3. I'm not sure when is going to be a proper place to, so we'll just keep going step 3. Okay. Step 3 is we're just going to add some content here, okay, and kind of make it interesting. Okay. So let's say I want to have text in my circle, okay, and I want it to be centered. Sounds reasonable, right? Okay. So let's go ahead and let's just get like a header. I'm going to add a header into there. And all of a sudden I am like crazy hungry. Okay. Let's go there. Let's close that. Okay. Let's go ahead and preview this. All right. So here is my content. And if you look at, hey, the content is automatically centered for me. That's kind of cool. And if you're curious why that is, actually the aspect ratio swatch is doing that for us. Okay. Because we have content align middle set on the aspect ratio. Okay. If you were using the fixed sized circles like we were doing before, and you're not using aspect ratio, well, first off, actually, here's some fun. I'm going to duplicate step 1. We're going to go back to these fixed size ones. Okay. And let's do a step 1.5. Okay. Because I'm going to show you how you can still get static height, but then get that aspect ratio kind of working as well. There's so many ways to skin a cat here. So we're gonna ditch this height, okay, and then I can do aspect ratio, and we're gonna do circle 1:1, okay, and at that point that's gonna be the same, right? Because I'm statically setting my width, I can then use aspect ratio. Now, these aren't going to make it responsive because we still have the width is still static. Okay, I just wanted to show you that. But actually, what I really wanted to show you, let's go back to give me my height swatch back. See how many undos I did in Stacks 5? Great stuff, dude. Okay. So I wanted to show you how we could center content, okay, inside these circles. I'm just going to do the text a little bit shorter because these are smaller circles here. All right. So here I have live, and we have our fixed width circles. Oops. Oh no, I deleted my rounding swatch. Oops. It's easy to put that back. Circle, percentage, 50. Boom. Okay. Now you might be thinking, what the heck, Joe? That is, that text is at the top left corner, right? And that's because that's where text starts by default, right? So text starts at the top left corner, but we want it dead smack in the center. Okay. So if we go to our one columns, okay, you'll notice that we have content alignment options here, as well as column alignment options. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do vertical alignment middle. Okay. And let's preview that. And voila. If we look at that, we have dead smack in the vertical middle. We're going to do that. And then next, I'm going to set my content alignment, which is like text alignment, because this is just text. I'm going to set that to be centered. Okay. And voila. Okay. That's how you would do it, again, without aspect ratio, because that aspect ratio swatch has that content alignment middle for us. I wanted to show you how you can do that in this method, okay, using the columns, because columns have that same setting as the aspect ratio, which is vertical alignment, and you set that to middle. Then we center our text with content alignment. Okay, so there's that. Let's go back to step 3, okay, and let's have a look at this bad boy again. So here we had 2 circles, and we vertically aligned. By default, that's aspect ratio does that for us, okay? But we still need to center our text or our content. So let's go to these one columns, and I'm just going to set center for content alignment. And voila. Pretty slick, right? So there is a circle with some text. Okay. So let's start playing around with these things. Let's say I want to have different color circles. Okay. So but I don't want to recreate. Let's say I want to make this first one a blue circle, and I want to make this second one a red circle. Okay. So you might be thinking, well, okay, so now I need to create a red circle class. And then on the second column, I need to create a blue circle class. And does that mean I need to duplicate all of these swatches here and create 2 of them? No. Okay. Remember, we're Foundation 6 is all about efficiency. Okay. I'm gonna get rid of that. We don't need sizing chart. Okay. So I'm going to keep these circles because this defines what a circle is. Okay, a circle is has this background color by default. It has a rounding and it has aspect ratio. All right, pretty cool. So let's go ahead and start creating some color variations of our circle. Okay, and so I'm just going to duplicate. Let's go ahead and I'm going to move these up to the front. All right. Now we have, this is our default color for a circle, but let's say I want to add, if circle also has the red class, okay, I'm going to do something else. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do circle.red. Okay. So if a circle, something has a class of circle and a class of red, we're going to get this color. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do red. Okay, and I said I wanted a blue one as well. Okay, so I'm going to do circle.blue. Okay, and let's go ahead and set a blue color. Let's do that color blue. All right. So down here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do circle space red. Okay, so I'm adding 2 classes here. I have circle and red. And then in this one, instead of Now this one is still gray because I said the default color of a circle is gray. So when it's just a circle, it's going to be gray. When it has circle and red, the background color is red. When it's circle and blue, it's going to be blue. So if I want to make this one blue, I'm going to do circle space blue. Okay. Now this is different. If you notice in this swatch, I did circle dot red, not space red. Okay. And that's because in CSS, I'm the thing that defines a class is a dot. Okay. So I'm saying to this swatch, find something that has a class of circle and a class of red. Okay. So if we look at these, obviously these are going to be a blue or a red circle and a blue circle. Which pill are you going to take, Neo? Right? So if we want to do pills, let's do, I don't know, what would that be, like a 4x3, something like that? It needs to be, and border radius needs to be a little less to make these look like pills. But oh well, it's okay. We won't do the matrix. Let's stick with circles. Getting off on a tangent here. All right, stick with our circles. Okay, glad you're learning something new, Mark. Okay. Now we could do something completely different. We could add background images. We could do all kinds of stuff right here, right? So let's do, I'm going to duplicate this. Let's do, I'm pretty much just kind of doing, let's do step 4. Okay. Now, just to say for step 3, I mean, you can now create this infinite, right? You can have a million different circle colors. Okay. That's red, blue, purple, green, whatever. Okay. And I should say probably an interesting use case. This is a great use case for pen. Okay. So if we go ahead and add pen into here, we can say, circle styles. Okay. And then what I do is I'm going to add all of these into a pen, and voila, there I have a pen that has all of my circle styles. Okay. I define what a circle is. It has a border radius of 50%, has an aspect ratio of 1:1. Okay. And then I have different customizations. You can even do borders. You can do all kinds of stuff. You can style these things to your heart's content. Okay. Now I should say that this little circle.red thing, while I'm doing this for circles, you can take this knowledge and apply it to all kinds of different things. Okay. We're just using it for circles right now. So think how you can take what you just learned and apply it to other things. Okay. Okay. Let's go ahead and go to step 4. Okay. Oops. I'm not going to do background colors here. I want to play around with some other stuff. Okay. So let's go ahead and start adding background image. Why not? So let's do circle dot Golden Gate. Okay. And then I'm going to do a background image. I know I have a picture of the Golden Gate Bridge somewhere around here. There we go. Golden Gate. Okay. So now if I add a class of Golden Gate, okay. And let's just copy and paste that. And we're going to do circle.downtown. Okay. Circle.downtown. All right. So down here, I'm going to do circle. Whoops. My goodness. What am I doing today? All right. We're going to do circle and golden dash gate. And here we're going to do circle and downtown. Okay. Oh, I forgot to change the image for that. Let's go ahead and get a downtown image. Here we go. All right. Let's preview that. All right, so now I have my circle. I have some background images. Okay, boom. All right, let's go ahead and we're gonna do text colors, and for circles, I'm just gonna do header is gonna be white. Okay. All right. So now my headers are white. Okay, but these headers aren't necessarily easy to read, right? Okay, so what can we do there? Okay, and text color swatch, super cool. Let me show you another way you could do that, because really here I'm only messing around with the header color. That's it. So many ways to skin a cat here. Okay, now that we're talking about text colors, do I want to go down this rabbit hole? Okay, super quick. Let's go ahead and let's say I wanted to use font color. Okay, instead, where my font color is only white. Okay, now if I apply that to circle, that is not going to work. Okay, because I've applied font color to my circle, but the header inside of it is defined in site styles as being black. Okay, now you probably know we have an alt class as well, and man, I'm really going down a rabbit hole here. Okay, but let's go ahead and if we do element, do I have all headers? All right, let's go CSS. If I just do H3, because these are H3s. Parent class is circle. Okay. Now basically I'm saying all H3s inside of a circle are white. Okay. But let's just keep things simple. And there's other ways we can even do that. We can even do it more different ways, but I'm not even going to go there. Let's just stick with text colors. We're going to do circle. Okay, and we're going to set headers inside circles to be white. There we go. All right. What is controlling the size of the circles? Yeah, so right now, our circle is a one column, and the one column goes full width, right? So if I were to change right now, this two column, okay, is set to be auto, which is it'll split in two columns on medium. If I were to change that, let's do like 4 and 8, or 4 and auto, right? Let's go ahead and refresh that. You'll see that now this circle is bigger than that circle. Okay. And that's because I changed the size of my two columns, and the one column will grow to fill that column inside this two column. Okay. Hopefully that helps out. Good question. All right. Preview that again. All right. So, getting back on track here, what I wanted to do was I want to go ahead and make this text more readable. How can we do that? Okay. So there's a swatch called an overlay BG. Okay. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give this a circle class. Okay. And let's give it an opacity of like 75%. Oh, interesting. Oh, damn. I didn't expect this one. Darn it. Okay. Interesting. I know why this is doing that. Do I want to fully explain why? Okay. Darn. This is good. Good to see that this happened. Okay. So let's fix this, because obviously the overlay looked good, right? It overlaid our background, and then we have our text on top. But what it didn't do is it kind of gets cut off here. So, all right, you know me, I got to explain why. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and explain why. Okay, let's make this a little bit wider so we can see stuff. All right. So if we look here, I wonder if we just need overflow. Hold on, I just want to test something really quick. Let's just, if I just set overflow hitting on this one column, that might actually fix it. Oh, I saved the day. Okay. Because my solution to combat that without that overflow hidden was going to be a lot more complex. And I was like, darn it, I want to keep things simple. Okay. That makes me feel so much better. Look at that. Okay. So on that one column, because basically we want to constrain anything. So that block, that overlay was breaking outside and filling the entire container, okay, or the entire column. And we need to tell, hey, anything that's overflowing outside your borders, go ahead and hide it, okay? So boom, overflow hidden for the win on there, okay? I actually think maybe a little bit of, actually here it could be something interesting. Let's say, let's go a little bit farther here. I mean, we got kind of running low on time, but let's do some cool hover effects on here, okay? So let's go ahead and play around with some hover effects. Get some water. I think these circles are a little large, but imagine you have like, a row of these, a block grid of these, okay? And they all have, some sort of hover effect. They all have a different background image, okay? But yeah, let's play around. What I want to do is I want to have the see the image, and then when I hover over it, I want the overlay to come in and the header to fade in as well. Okay, so let's play around with that. So what I want is I want the header to have an opacity of 0. Okay, and then I also want this overlay to have an opacity of 0 by default. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and make that overlay opacity of 0. Okay, so, okay, the overlay's there, but I set it to be an opacity of 0. Now we need to hide these headers. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add an opacity swatch. Okay, and what I can do here is I'm actually going to add, just to make things a little easier, I'm going to add to these headers, I'm going to add it a class in there called circle-header. Okay, just to make things a little less confusing with swatches. So now I have this class on both of these headers called circle header. Okay, and what I want to do here is I'm going to say circle header has an opacity of 0. Okay, let's go ahead and preview that. Voila. So my header's there, but you can't see it. Okay, so what we want to do is we now want to start animating those things in out on hover. Okay, so first off, let's do this. So on opacity, okay, we want to do, so let's go ahead and do hover. Okay, and we're going to do opacity 1. So when I hover over circle header, we want opacity 1. Now, I hover over the circle. I didn't get the header yet. Oh, wait. When I hover over just where the header is, then it comes in. That's not what I want. Okay. I know some of you know this, the answer to this, but let's go ahead and do it. So we don't want to hover on circle header. We want to hover on the parent, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a parent class of circle. Okay. And you'll notice when I do that, I get this cool little setting in here called hover parent. So I'm going to check that. Okay. So what that means is when I hover over circle, make circle header opacity 1. So I'm going to go ahead and hover over the circle. Boom. You'll see that I now get the header. Sweet. Okay, so let's do the same thing for overlay BG. Let's copy and paste that. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do hover. Actually, okay. So if you notice here, overlay BG is circle before. Okay. So what I want to do is interesting. Oh, nice. Man, I'm clever sometimes. So what we want to do is we want to do a pseudo state of hover. Apparently, I already thought about this edge case. I was going to tell you something else, but never mind. Okay. So when we hover over that, we want it to be opacity to like 62%. How about that? All right, let's go ahead and preview that. Boom. Look at that. All right. Now that works, but it's very instant, right? We need to add a little bit of animation to it. Okay. So when we are transitioning, hint, from one state to another, there is a swatch called a transition swatch. Okay. And so there's a couple things. So first we want to do a transition on the header. Actually, let's do the overlay BG. Okay. So here we'll see that the overlay BG is circle before. All right. So we need to transition that. So I'm going to go ahead and I need to do circle. Okay. Now, how do I target the before element on this overlay? So in pseudo state, I'm going to do before. Okay. And I'm going to transition for, let's do like 500 milliseconds. And we'll do ease out. Okay. Here's just various timing algorithms. Okay. I won't dive into that for right now. Let's preview that. There we go. If you notice, there we go. The header still comes in immediately. We'll rectify that. But the overlay comes in very nicely, right? Sweet. All right. So let's go ahead and we're going to add one more transition. Okay. And we're going to transition circle header. And let me just copy that class. Okay. And let's do 500 milliseconds as well. And we'll do ease out as well. So kind of animation matches. There we go. All right. Now, a couple things. With transition, I know for a fact the only thing that I'm animating is the opacity. Okay. So what I'm going to do is instead of allowing CSS to look for everything, I know I'm only doing opacity. So I'm going to tell it that these two things, you're only going to animate the opacity. This is a minor thing, but hey, every little bit of performance counts. Okay. So by limiting things, we're going to make our experience in the browser a little bit nicer. Okay. Now, what if I wanted to do, what if I added a little bit of delay to that header? So the background sort of fades in and a little bit later, the header fades in, right? So what I can do is I'm going to add a delay to this one. So I'm going to add 250 milliseconds of a delay. So now you'll see that the header starts animating after the overlay. Pretty cool. So someone was saying it should not hover in the four corners outside of the circle, right? So it does. Okay. And that is because unfortunately, so here if we look at this, let's go ahead and let's make this a little bit bigger text-wise. All right. So if you look here in the code, this is our circle. Okay. That is our circle. Okay. So this circle, if you look, while it has a border radius, okay, and we've limited the contents of within it, okay, the circle itself is still a square. The browser still sees it as a square. Okay. So good point. You did see, I think it was Gunter, right? That even when you hover over this invisible part where to the human eye, that isn't the circle, to the browser, it still is, right? It's still the circle element on the page. Okay. Now, to get around that, it's actually quite complex because then you basically have to duplicate your entire work and do the animations on elements that are inside of this. And yeah, I would say live with it. Okay. I mean, chances are, yes, and now these are large circles. A lot of times you're going to have an interface where these circles are much smaller, where that is not going to be an issue. Okay. How can you solve that? That's more time than I don't have time to do that right now. Okay. Solving that. Play around with it. Basically, you're gonna have to rebuild and target elements within here. It's not gonna be easy. Okay. This is easy. And yeah, I'll admit, even a lot of the animations I build, yeah, I think the amount of time and effort it would take to do that, I think you could spend doing something more important, Gunter. I'll be perfectly honest with you. But hey, there we go. But it was a great question. And it is potentially fixable. I just don't have time to teach you how to do that. And I'd have to play around with probably an hour or so myself to figure out a way around it. Okay. I'm sure it's probably possible. Do I know how to do it straight off the top of my head just by going wham, bam, 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 bam? No, I'd have to figure that out. Okay. Man, I thought I would have so much extra time today. And like I've already gone almost an hour. There's one more. I thought it would be kind of fun. I'm going to do one more animation here. Okay. And then we're going to play around with some stuff. Let's duplicate that. Instead of transforming the opacity of this header, I'm going to do something different. Okay. So let's find where those were. That was this. So I'm going to delete that and that. Okay. And that. Okay. So instead of changing the opacity of the header, what I'm going to do is I'm going to like make it kind of expand and shrink and do something a little bit different. Okay. So what I'm going to do is we're going to use a transform swatch, which is from the SWAC. Okay. And I'm going to do a circle dash header here. Okay. And I'm going to use scale. Okay. And I'm going to choose the default scale to be 0. So I'm going to do 0, 0, 0. Okay. And what that does is that shrinks it down. So it shrinks it down to nothing. Okay. And let's go ahead and on hover. Okay. And I'm going to do circle hover parent. We're going to change that scale to 1. Okay. And then, as we know, I want to transition between two states. So we're going to do transition of circle dash header. I'm only going to do transform, and we'll do 500 milliseconds as well. Ease out is my favorite. Okay. Look at that. And we can play with all kinds of stuff with transforms, right? So let's say I want to move it. I'm going to move it down. By default, we're going to move it down 30 pixels. Okay. And then here, I'm going to move it to 0 pixels. All right. So now, hover over it. If you notice now, it actually, it doesn't come straight out at you. It actually comes up at an angle. Here, let's do a little bit more, so a little more drastic. Let's do like negative 100 pixels. You see that? Hopefully you see it's scaling and moving from the top, right? Pretty cool. Here, let's, instead of negative, let's do positive 100. Actually, it looks like it's, I wonder if I need to do like interesting. Looks like it's getting cut off a little bit. Oh, and that's because of this column here. Oh, because I have overflow hidden set. Oh, man. Interesting. Look at that. There we go. Okay. So to combat that, I'm going to use an overflow swatch. I thought we had an overflow swatch. There it is, overflow. And then I'm going to do circle, and I'm going to target child elements and overflow visible. Okay. I'm not going to necessarily explain that, but you'll have this project file, and that's what I did there. Okay. Ooh, do I need to force that? There it goes. I think that's a little much. I like more subtle, but hopefully you guys are, let's do like 30 again. I think 30 would probably be. Yeah. See how it comes up and out a little bit? And you can do opacity as well, right? So, yeah, here, let's add opacity back in. So it's going to start at circle dash header. Opacity is 0. And then circle hover parent, opacity 1. Okay. And then as transition, I need to make sure that this is all now, because I'm now transitioning more than just the transform. Now there is a transform multi here, which allows you to transfer different properties at different times. You can do all kinds of stuff. Oh, I won't dive into that now. But let's go ahead and play with this here. So now, yeah, it's the opacity fades in. I like that. That's really nice. Let's do I want to do that a little bit darker. Pretty slick, right? Maybe even maybe starting from scale 0 is too much. Let's do like 30, something like that. Oh, I did 30 per. Oh, well, that's an interesting one as well. I did that by accident. Okay. So it's scaling from basically 3000% down to 100%, right? Okay. I needed 0.3, 0.3, 0.3. Yeah, that's better. So it doesn't go all, it starts at 30% and kind of comes up a little bit. So I think this is great. Really love it. Hope, transforms and transitions, you can do a lot of really cool stuff. Okay. And yeah, fun with circles. I think we did more about non-circles today than anything, but it was fun to learn about circles too. Okay. Man, I really did not get to some cool stuff I wanted to do. But let's play around with it anyway. All right, we're gonna do. I'm gonna do a new one. We're actually gonna duplicate. Where is it? This one? Where we did the colors? Where's the one I did the colors? This one. I'm gonna duplicate this one. Okay, and let's do step 6. Okay. All right. So let's get rid of some of these. All right. Let's do a couple other. I want to do a couple other variations of color in here. So we're gonna do green. Oh, and then we need to set the green. Okay, and then we're gonna do. Oops. We're gonna do purple. Okay. I'm gonna set it to purple. Okay, and one more orange. All right, we're gonna set it to orange. All right, and then there we go. And I'm going to. So I have circle, and then I also want classes for different sizes of circles. Okay, so go ahead here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trash this. Okay, and we're just going to do a bunch of stuff here. So I'm going to do a circle on this container, and I'm just going to set let's do a width swatch. Okay, and oops. I'm going to set circle. I don't want these to be responsive circles. I want these to be static circles for what I'm going to be playing around with. Okay. So let's do the default size of a circle is 64. How about that? Okay. Right. Perfect. All right. I'm good with that. And then here I want to do circle dot small. Right. And let's do 32. Okay. And I want to do circle dot how about extra small, and that is 12 or no 16. Okay, and then we'll do, actually let's say this one's circle dot medium. Okay, and then we have circle large. Okay, and that one is going to be 64, and we'll do one more. We'll do extra large, and that's going to be we'll do 96 instead of 128. Okay, so now I got all these classes. Okay, and it can have red, blue, green, purple, orange, and it can have various sizes. Okay, so I'm going to have this container. And let's see, if I do red, guess what? It gets red. If I do small, well, you're not going to see it here, but let's go ahead and do a quick preview. So there is my small. Okay. Okay. So now I have a small circle. If I want that to be a large circle, right? Well, guess what? Boom. And I now have a large red circle. And if I want a large purple circle, I just change the red class to purple. And guess what? Voila, I get a large purple circle. Okay, so what's the purpose of this? I want to have a little bit of fun. I thought this would be kind of a cool thing to play around with. We're going to look at slot machine. And we're going to get the particle generator. Okay, so particle generator, voila. So been a while since I used this. Okay. Oops. Yeah. Close that. Okay. So the particle generator allows us to take some content, okay, and it's gonna generate a lot of something, okay. So what I want to do is I want to randomly assign a class or a color to a circle. Okay, so here we're gonna do color, and my available colors are red, green, blue, purple, and orange. Okay. And then I'm also going to do size. And that was extra small, small, medium, large, extra large. Okay. And then in particle generator, you just say how many of those things you want to create. All right. You can also say no sequential duplicates, but let's say I want to create 20 of these. Preview. Oh, wait. What? Oh, wait. I need to use these macros inside my thing. So here it just created 20 purple large circles because I didn't have those. So I need to add in the color macro into there, as well as the size macro into the class. So it's gonna take those values and randomly apply them to a class. Okay, kind of a key stop. Boom. So now I have 20 randomly generated circles. Now one thing I want to do is we're gonna do I want these to be displayed inline. Do I have a setting for that? No. I'm just gonna use the utility class for display dash inline. Oops. Display dash inline. Oh, display block. It has to have display block. Interesting, because of the aspect ratio. Interesting. Okay. But we can create a ton of these, right? So I can create 200 of these if I wanted. And so I created a bunch of circles. All right. Now, what can we do with circles? I have another kind of a cool stack called Drift. Okay. And I have to admit, it's been a while since I've played with Drift as well. I just released, it was one of my big releases this year. Let's just add Drift Pro. Drift timeline. Wonder if we can do. I want to see. I wonder if we can do it with just Drift animate. I'm wondering. Animate. Yeah. Let's see. Only trigger once on scroll. No, that's not going to work out. We need Drift timeline. Okay. Okay. So first off, I want to make it so all these circles aren't like this, right? We need them. We need them positioned differently. So I'm going to do a position swatch, and I'm going to make them. We're going to target all circles. Okay. I'm going to make them position fixed relative to the browser. Okay. And I want them to be on the bottom of the screen, bottom 0, left 50%, or center of the origins. Actually, no, we're just going to leave it like that. All right. I think that's all we need. All right. So I have 200 circles right here. Okay. It's kind of crazy. Okay. And we're going to animate these things. I'm going to animate them all. Okay. So on Drift timeline, let's just animate it on scroll, which we'll do on page load because they're visible on page load. Okay. Start paused. think we could just do circle here. All right, trigger position. Let's just do 0, 0 for fun. All right, it's just so it loads directly on page load. Okay, so now let's do the animate stuff. So now we're going to trigger on, we're going to animate a circle. Okay. Hold on. I did a demo of this. I gotta refresh my brain a little bit on that. Oh, it's the page. Particle generator. Hey. Oh, I used the advanced one. Yeah, because we have to randomly do it. I'm gonna copy this. Okay. This is if you have this is the slot machine demo file, but it'll be in this file too. I'm gonna send this one out. Instead of animating box, we're gonna animate circle. Well, we don't need to rotate because you're not going to be able to see rotation on a circle anyway. I don't know if you can see that. Interesting. Here, let's. It's interesting. As I scrolled, it just keeps animating them for a while. Huh. It didn't do exactly what I thought. Let's change this to hover. It's just randomly. And here, let's go ahead and slow the animation down a little bit. Duration, let's do like 2 seconds. It's going to stagger them 0.02. How did I do the slot machine one? Let's see what I did here. I did, and click. Oh, I'd click the button. Okay. All right, let's see this one. I know we're kind of going over a little bit, guys. Sorry. Let's say animate. Boom. Yeah. I just thought it would be fun to play around. Maybe another time I can refine this. And basically, I thought it'd be fun to make the circles kind of like go. That'd be kind of fun. But it would take me a little while to play around with that to get the animations on this done just right. But as you see, it does work. It's a way of creating these circles and then just kind of use them as like confetti on the page or something like that. Imagine if you were to scroll down the page and boof, you use Particle Generator to generate 200 of these things of random sizes and colors. And yeah, pretty slick. Okay. Well, guys, I think we'll call it a day. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. It was just mostly some playing around. I think playing around with stuff like this is we kind of learn the most sometimes, right? Another thing is, I didn't even get into, you can use what I showed you in styling those circles, use those in blog lists or when you're using your feeds, right? You can generate all that stuff. And you can use the data from feeds to populate classes or the data from Total CMS, like the categories and the tags to populate classes of your stuff. So you can change your styles. Like I did these circles to make them randomly blue, green, red, large colors, right? Again, the things I showed you today you can take them very literally. Like, oh, I know how to change the color of a circle, but think bigger than that, right? Think how you can take a class from Total CMS blog post to customize that particular blog post with a special style. I just used size and colors, but you can do whatever you want. There's 100 different swatches that you can do all kinds of stuff with, right? So while the examples I showed today were super simple, you can use these in an infinite amount of ways to do so many powerful things. Again, try to take these concepts and don't take them literally. Apply them in different ways. Play around with this stuff. Playing around like I did today, just playing around with some circles, super powerful, because you can take that same exact concept to apply to so many other things in your designs. So take that. That was really what I wanted to, teach you today. Yes, we learned about circles, and we learned how we can change the colors and sizes and animate them. But hopefully you can take these simple examples of just a circle and apply it to so many other things. So anyway, have a great day. Hopefully we'll see you on Friday at the Hangouts. Always a fun time. And take care. See you on the Weaver Space community.